Welcome to Free Flow Friday, powered by the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. I'm Dave Dubeau, and I'm very excited to give you an over-the-shoulder learning experience around raising capital, as well as other tips, tricks, and strategies to help you on your real estate investing journey. So let's start. Let's discover together. Today, we're going to do a little brainstorm session around using emails more effectively for raising capital. That's what this is all about. Do a quick review of the money partner formula, very, very quick. Then jump into capital raising emails. Welcome on board. Do a quick little recap here of what I call my money partner formula, just to remind you what it's all about. Most of you have been on a workshop in the past. So again, our process is we get started off with going after the low-hanging fruit first. So people that we have a pre-existing relationship with, friends, family, coworkers, business associates, etc. You know them, they know you. I find that especially when you're getting started with raising capital, people need to know you, like you, and trust you with their money before they're going to invest. So these folks, they already know you, they already like you. Now we just have to work on that trust factor. So that's why we start with that. And then our first step is let's reconnect with them on a personal level first before we start talking business. So that's all about step number one, create that target market and reconnect with them. And then step number two is make sure that we're ready to go with a presentation. If somebody puts up their hand and says, hey, I'm interested, tell me more about your deal. So that's what that's all about, creating that investor presentation and getting some practice runs under your belt so you can do it effectively, whether that's one-on-one in person, online, small group presentations, it's all good. Step number three is all about the marketing, the edutaining marketing, constant, consistent communication, remembering that for most of us, our prospective investors are not real estate weirdos like us. They're normal human beings, so we don't want to overwhelm them with too much data, too much, minutia about real estate investing. They want to know that we know our stuff, and we want to get top of mind and stay top of mind with them with that constant, consistent communication, the ongoing marketing. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Step number four is all about consistently working on creating that credibility and authority in the eyes of your prospective investors. So being seen as a real estate expert in their eyes. And again, the good news is, you guys, you don't need to have a ton of deals on your belt, because we're not trying to be the next Robert Kiyosaki and world famous about this stuff. We're trying to be famous within the eyes of those 100 to 200 people on our prospective investor list. So that's all about being seen as that authority. And then once you got a couple of investors on board, and Adrian and Eric, I'm sure you guys can attest to this, it's a lot easier to get more of them with referrals and testimonials. That's how you get the whole snowball effect starting. All right. So we're going to be talking about raising capital emails, using emails to communicate more effectively with our list and shake the tree and make things happen. So this falls into the whole marketing side of things. So I'll show you what not to do. Then we'll talk about some smart, really smart email tactics that I've been learning quite a bit about lately from a very smart guy named Dean Jackson. So we'll talk about spear emails, conversational conversions. This is the big mindset shift that I have to get my head around and remind myself around, is that all of our marketing doesn't need to look or sound like marketing, right? So this is something that Dean does amazingly well. We'll talk about his amazing 9-word email, which you've actually probably seen quite a bit now, but he's the first guy that came up with this. And then we'll remind you about the wisdom of the long game and talk about what we call the super signature as well. So what not to do when it comes to using email for raising capital is, don't do what I did back in the day when I was first trying to raise money, which is I came up with my list of a couple of 100 prospective investors, which is good. But then the first thing they heard from me was basically some version of this. Hey, it's Dave. I got a great deal. Have you got any money? It wasn't quite that bad, but pretty much, right? And so I got quite a few replies back. However, none of them were positive. They were all basically saying, hey, Dave, haven't heard from me in a long time, buddy. In fact, one guy hadn't heard from me in 18 years. And that was the first thing he got from me was this, you know, hey, it's Dave, you got any money for one of my deals? So needless to say, that didn't go over very well. I raised absolutely zero capital from that. And in fact, what I did was I burned a bunch of bridges. I really screwed things up because I turned off a lot of really good potential investors by basically being like a bull in a china shop. So don't do that. What are we going to do instead? So you guys are probably familiar if you remember the workshop. What I suggest you do when you're getting started with this is break the ice first. Let's reconnect with people on a personal level first before we start talking business. So we talked about the 3-step warm-up campaign. You know, the first email that goes out, just like a regular catch-up type of email. I call this a Christmas letter from Aunt Nadine. So if you remember back in the day, people used to write Christmas letters. Modern version of this, you don't have to wait till Christmas, but basically catch people up on what you've been doing personally for the last 3, 4, 5 years. You know, just kind of assuming that people haven't heard a heck of a lot from you, okay? And at the end of it, you have a call to action, right? So we talk all about, hey, here's what I've been up to. Here's what's been going on with work. Here's what's going on with the family. Here's the good stuff. Here's the not so good stuff. You know, don't leave on a downer, but include some of the not so good stuff as well. And then at the end of the whole thing, you say, hey, well, that's been me. How about you? How are you doing? Please hit reply to this email. Let me know how you're doing. I'd love to catch up. Send that out. Again, you can set all of this up in an email autoresponder to make it much more efficient. And again, the important thing is to really have that connection. So when people do reach out to you, answer them, right? If they answer you, have a genuine reconnection because there is money in those connections. The second one of those, email that goes out 3 or 4 days later, same idea, but a short little video, a video version of that first message, catching people up. Why video? Why a similar message? Because not everybody's going to have seen or opened the first message, and this is just a completely different modality. And quite frankly, video is the next best thing to you bumping into that person at line in Starbucks. All right, so a good short little video, same idea, but again, at the end of it, hey, that's what I've been up to. Enough about me. Hit me back. Let me know how you're doing. I'd really love to catch up and reconnect. All right, send that off to everybody on your prospective investor list. And again, get back to them right away and answer those emails. Does that make sense, you guys? Is this sounding familiar? Yep. Okay, very good. And then the last of those 3 steps is that transition message where we're going to let them know that, you know, moving ahead, we're going to do a better job staying in touch, and we're going to start letting them know about our real estate deal. So again, these 3 steps kind of set the stage for everything else, and it's a much more elegant way to get started with your marketing and your email communications. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a thumbs up if this is resonating with you. All right, very good. Okay, now, generally speaking, what other kind of emails can we be sending out? Well, when you're doing a monthly blog post, at least what we recommend is have all of your marketing on your investor site and send people short little emails, creating curiosity and sending them to your site. So notify people about new blog posts on your website, new video logs that come up on your website, your electronic newsletters. If you're doing webinars, you can be letting people know about that. These kind of things. So those, you know, when we're working one-on-one with clients, that's what we're getting set up. So you got a weekly communication, or at least a weekly email going out to your list with some edutaining marketing. All right, so that's part 1 of this whole thing about using emails to start raising capital. On our second part, I'm going to dive in and share with you all about what I've been learning from one of my marketing mentors, Dean Jackson, about doing very, very short conversational emails that are highly, highly effective. So make sure you tune in next week for the second part of this whole series. So check it out. Talk to you soon. Well, hey there. Thanks for tuning into the Property Profits Podcast. If you like this episode, that's great. Please go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a good review. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that. And if you're looking to attract investors and raise capital for your deals, then I'm going to invite you to get a complimentary copy of my newest book, right back there. There it is. The Money Partner Formula. You can get a PDF version at investorattractionbook.com. Again, investorattractionbook.com. Take care.